Hi everybody, my name is Sarah and I am from Sarah's Create Studio, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use some Grafix products to create a travel earring holder. This is an example of one that I made. I travel quite a bit and I wanted something light and thin that I could put my earrings in when I travel, that doesn't take up a whole lot of space and doesn't add to the weight, because you know weight limits are a thing when you travel in an airplane. So I'm going to put that aside. Let me talk to you a little bit about the products I'm going to be using. I am going to be using Duralar clear. It's 0.005 clear Duralar. I'm going to be using double tack mounting film and opaque white craft plastic. I'm going to cut these products on a Sizzix die to make the journal shape. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I did was I took one sheet of the double tack, one sheet of the craft plastic, and one sheet of the Duralar, and I cut it in half just because the die is not as wide as the one sheet, but we will need to cut two pieces for the front and the back cover. So I'm going to start with the opaque white craft plastic. So let me move these out of the way, because the clear, there's a little, and the double tack, there's a little bit more to it than just running it through. So let me pull out my Sizzix. And then, so the journal die that I'm using is Eileen Hull's journal die. It's kind of hard to see, but we're only going to be using this top piece. The bottom piece has like tabs and things like that, and a latch. So if you want to use that stuff, you can. But for this tutorial, I am just going to be using the main journal piece. So I'm just going to put my plastic down, make sure I'm covering that the whole piece. And then I'm going to run it through my Sizzix. So now I will have a front piece and a back piece. So here's one. I'm going to do the other craft plastic piece really quick, and then I will show you how we are going to do the clear Duralar and the double tack. Didn't line it up just perfect, but that'll be all right. So there's the back piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I cut the clear Duralar and the double tack, I'm going to put the double tack mounting film onto the clear piece. So that way, lining it up after you cut it is harder than it is to just attach it first and then cut it, because then the edges will be perfect. So just peel one side of the double tack. You know, the ink, you don't want it to, sometimes, you know, when you can use something like alcohol inks and the inks kind of stay sticky, things like that. This is just kind of a protective piece. So I'm going to line this up with my clear opaque. I know it's probably kind of hard to see. It doesn't necessarily need to be 100% perfect, because we're going to cut the shape out, but you want it as close to perfect as you can. And then leave the other side of the double tack protective sheet on, so when we cut it. So let me do this other one. There we go. So then we'll run those through the Sizzix and get those cut. But first, before we do that, I want to start putting the inks down on this craft plastic. So the inks that I'm using, I'm going to do one side at a time here. So the die itself has score marks as well. They're hard to see. You can kind of see the little indents right here and right here. and that's where the edge is going to fold. So it's that where it folds, where you see it, that's going to be the inside of the book, so we want to use the outside. Okay, so I'm going to take these Amsterdam acrylic inks, and I'm going to basically use them like I would alcohol inks. I'm going to dot it around and spread it out with the little blower. You do want to make sure that you're using colors that go well together. So I have like red, blue, and yellow. So I know red and blue will make green, and yellow and red will make orange, and blue and, you know, so, and blue and red will make purple. So I know I won't make some weird like mud color. But you basically want to just take a few drops of each color and sprinkle it around. I typically start with one color and blow it around, and then I add a different color, and then I add a little bit of more, back and forth. So you'll do this to both the front and the back covers. You just want to make sure that it's not too thick. If you have big globs of the ink, it'll take longer to dry. And you can use a heat gun to speed up the drying time. I'm doing this prior to cutting the clear piece that's going to be the overlay over the top to kind of protect the ink when it dries. But that's not necessarily necessary. You can do it in any order you would like. So as you can see, you know, I covered the whole thing. We'll set that aside to dry. Like I said, you can use a heat gun to speed up the drying time. You do want to make sure you don't have any thick areas, things like that. And then you can also do the inside. You can tell that there's some bleed over. If the bleed over doesn't bother you, then you don't need to worry about it. But I'm going to set this to the side and let it start drying. What you're going to do is you're going to take the Duralar, the clear Duralar with the double tack on it, and you're going to peel off the other side to expose the sticky. And you're going to put it on your cover. You want to line it up as evenly as possible. And once it's down, it's down. So you got to make sure you get it lined up the first time, or you're going to be starting all over. Okay, so there's that. Now we'll do the other side. So now you have your front cover and your back cover. What you want to do now is you want to decide which one you want to be the front cover and the back cover. And then you're going to fold right along that innermost score line. So there's a nice little crease. So that way we can line it up. You can also just use the holes to line it up. The top and the bottom holes. I'm going to use zip dry to attach them together. And then I'm going to use some clips to hold them in place until it dries. So you don't necessarily need to worry about covering the holes. We're going to, I'm going to use some bias tape, bookbinding tape, and cover the holes anyway. We're going to make new holes. But I want the covers to be as exact as possible. So I put the zip dry down, line it up, and then I'm just going to clip them in place on the top and the bottom. It's dry. I'm just going to add some washi tape. I have this orange washi tape. I'm just going to add along the seam, just for a little added reinforcement. So now we have the two sides that are folded. Let's see. It's not perfectly straight, but It's good enough. So there they are. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put holes in here and grommets to so that way we can add the strings. So I have my tool here. This actually won't reach the middle, so we're going to do that just a different way. And then I have some grommets. So there's one, and then we want the same thing on the other side, roughly in the same spot. Like I said, I'm just eyeballing it. And then we're going to want one in the middle. Well, obviously this won't reach the middle, so I have this other tool that I will just poke the hole with a hammer, but it's going to be loud, so I'm going to do this off camera, and then I did it off camera because I had to use my hammer, and a hammer is really loud. So now we'll do the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to pop this through the hole we punched, attach it. So now we have our grommets and our holes. I'm going to take this elastic cord. So the first one I want to put in the middle because I want it to be a band. So feed it from the outside in, so the knots are in the middle. And then we'll want it to adjust so that way it's just a little bit shorter than halfway, just a little bit shorter than halfway. And that's where you're going to want to knot it. And this is your latch, essentially, to latch it closed. You do want to make sure that your knot is big enough that it's not going to go through the hole. I used slightly bigger grommets than I did last time, so I'm going to double it just to knot it just a couple of times to get it to be a little bit of a thicker knot so it doesn't pull through. When you go to close it, you have a band to hold it closed. That won't come through. To string the inside, again, you want to feed it from the back to the inside. You want the knots on the inside, you don't want the knots on the outside, right? So I usually put one end in the top, one end in the bottom, and then meet them in the middle. And tie it in a knot. And you want this to be, somewhat tight. I'll use my teeth. Really see it. And then when you cut your felt, so let me bring this other one over here. So when you cut your felt, you'll wrap it over, fold it through the middle. So 3 pieces of felt gave me essentially 6 pages where I can put my earrings. I don't have felt the color I want for this yet. You could also use this for a notebook if you had like a traveler's notebook. It's the same concept. It'll go right through the middle. And then you'll have a notebook cover. So as soon as I get the felt, I will have pictures and I will show you, and I will get it cut, and there you are. I'm so glad you guys came and watched this video today. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, my name is Sarah and I'm from Sarah's Create Studio, and we just created an earring holder with Grafix products. Have a good day. Bye.